Hey everyone, welcome to the Bold and Beautiful 24. I'm Alessio, and I'm so excited to have you here. If you love bold and beautiful, then you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Alright, let's dive right in. The Bold and the Beautiful, where secrets, betrayals, passions, and power struggles collide in a storm of melodrama that shakes the lives of Los Angeles' most glamorous families. The shocking storyline of Electra Forrester and Luna Nozawa takes center stage in an explosive arc that begins with a seemingly small confrontation but quickly spirals into tragedy, betrayal, and repercussions that will ripple across Forrester Creations, the Spencer Empire, and the Forrester-Finnegan-Nozawa family tree for years to come, and it all begins in the aftermath of mounting tension between Electra and Luna, two women who embody opposite ends of the Forrester legacy yet find themselves intertwined by destiny, love triangles, and clashing ambitions. As Electra, long resentful of Luna's rapid rise within Forrester Creations thanks to her relationship with R.J. Forrester and her newfound place in the Finnegan family as Lee's niece, lashes out in an impulsive moment of violence that changes everything, a moment that unfolds in the Forrester design office late at night when Luna, exhausted from fittings and still secretly reeling from her discovery that she's pregnant, sits at the design table sketching ideas for hope for the future, determined to prove she belongs in the Forrester world not just because of her talent but because of the family connections she never asked for. And just as she touches her stomach in a private, tender moment thinking about the baby growing inside her, the door bursts open and Electra storms in, seething, her eyes blazing with jealousy and fury, accusing Luna of stealing everything, her place in the family spotlight, her chances with RJ, her respect from the Forresters, and now, as rumors of Luna's pregnancy begin to circulate, even her shot at securing her future in this powerful dynasty, and Luna, trying to stay calm, pleads with her cousin to stop, insisting she doesn't want a war, that she's not here to replace anyone, but Electra mocks her, calling her manipulative like her mother Poppy, saying she used RJ for status and now she's using a baby to trap him forever, and though Luna's voice trembles as she begs Electra not to reduce her love for RJ to a scheme, Electra's rage only intensifies, and she suddenly shoves Luna back against the table before, in a split second that will haunt her forever, she delivers a swift, vicious kick to Luna's stomach, sending Luna crashing to the floor with a scream that echoes through the office, her hands instantly clutching her abdomen as tears stream down her face in unbearable pain, and in that horrifying moment, both women realize something irreversible has happened, Luna gasping that she can't feel the same flutter she felt just hours ago, her skin turning pale as her body trembles, while Electra, shaken but still fueled by anger and denial, stares down at her and whispers, "You brought this on yourself," before fleeing the office, leaving Luna writhing in agony, crawling toward her phone to call RJ but barely able to press the buttons as her vision blurs and her breath grows shallow, until at last she collapses in the Forrester office, unconscious, discovered minutes later by Hope Logan, who rushes in with Thomas Forrester after hearing the commotion, both horrified at the sight of Luna bleeding and unresponsive, quickly calling 911 as Thomas lifts her into his arms to carry her downstairs, his face a mask of fury and panic, with Hope sobbing that this can't be happening, not again, not in their family's walls, and soon the hospital becomes the center of the drama as John Finnegan is paged, unaware that the emergency patient is his cousin, only to arrive and freeze in horror when he sees Luna being wheeled into trauma, blood soaking through the sheets, her voice weak as she whispers his name and then begs him to save her baby, words that shatter him as both a doctor and his family, because as he orders scans and interventions, the reality becomes grim, the baby's heartbeat is fading, the trauma too severe, and though Bridget Forrester and Lee Finnegan rush in to assist, with Lee torn between her personal resentment toward Poppy's daughter and her medical oath to save every life, the devastating truth emerges after an emergency ultrasound: there is no fetal heartbeat, the miscarriage has already occurred, and Finn, with trembling hands and tears in his eyes, has to tell Luna that her baby is gone, shattering her into sobs of grief so raw that even Lee, who once wanted Luna out of Finn's life, feels her heart crack at the sight of her niece broken and inconsolable, while RJ arrives just in time to hear the news, collapsing at her bedside, his face buried in her hands as he promises her they'll get through this together, though inside he silently vows revenge on whoever hurt her, and it doesn't take long before suspicions swirl, because while Luna, through gasps of pain, admits that Electra was with her right before it happened, she cannot bring herself to recount the violent kick, too ashamed and traumatized to relive it, but Ridge, Steffi, and Brooke immediately suspect foul play given Electra's history of jealousy and rage, setting off a family firestorm in which Eric Forrester demands answers. Carter Walton warns of legal consequences if this becomes public, and Bill Spencer, upon hearing that his niece by love was attacked, vows to use every ounce of his power to destroy Electra if she's responsible, while Katie pleads for cooler heads to prevail, though her pleas fall on deaf ears as the Forresters circle around Luna in an unprecedented show of support. Even Steffi, who once distrusted her, sitting at her bedside holding her hand, whispering that no woman should ever go through this, and as the truth begins to surface, with security footage confirming Electra entered the office moments before Luna's collapse, the police, led by Chief Baker, begin investigating what could be considered assault causing miscarriage. A crime that could send Electra to prison for years, but Electra, cornered and terrified, insists she never meant to hurt the baby, that it was a heated moment that got out of control, begging her parents and Zen to protect her, yet her family begins to fracture under the weight of the scandal, with Zen distancing himself, horrified by what she's done, while Quinn and Wyatt, if reintroduced for the storyline, argue bitterly about whether to stand by their daughter or turn her in, creating yet another generational rift, and as the investigation intensifies, Luna spirals into grief and guilt, blaming herself for not protecting her baby, while RJ becomes consumed with rage, even confronting Electra in a fiery showdown where he nearly puts his hands on her before Ridge and Finn pull him back, warning him that if he lashes out, he'll ruin their chances at justice. And through all of this, the emotional weight of the tragedy ripples outward. Poppy collapses when she hears she's lost her grandchild, wailing that she should have protected her daughter better, while Lee, for once, holds her sister and admits that despite their differences, no mother deserves this pain, creating a moment of fragile unity in the Finnegan-Nozawa family, though that unity is quickly tested as whispers spread that Luna might press charges, and Finn struggles with his dual role as both her doctor and her cousin, his heart breaking as he listens to her cry herself to sleep every night, haunted by the image of the child she'll never hold, while Hope, traumatized by finding Luna on the floor, begins projecting her own past losses onto the situation, reigniting her tension with Thomas as she insists they must protect Luna from further trauma, whereas Thomas, practical as ever, reminds her they need to think about the reputation of Forrester Creations too, because a scandal like this could implode their business, and so the soap machine churns onward with layered conflicts, emotional showdowns, legal threats, and the never-ending question of whether Electra will face justice or somehow manipulate her way out of it, leaving fans on the edge of their seats as Luna's grief turns into strength, vowing she will rise again, that Electra may have stolen her baby but she will not steal her future, and setting up the next explosive chapter in this saga where love, loss, and vengeance collide in classic bold and the beautiful fashion. But the story doesn't stop at the hospital with Luna's loss confirmed, because this tragedy acts as the detonator for an entire cascade of dramatic confrontations, manipulations, and emotional reckonings that shake every corner of the Forrester, Spencer, Finnegan, and Logan families, beginning with Luna's fragile state in recovery where she lies staring blankly at the ceiling, her hand resting over the flatness of her stomach as if still trying to feel for the heartbeat that's no longer there. While RJ sleeps slumped against her bedside in the chair, dark circles under his eyes from refusing to leave her side, and when she whispers his name in the middle of the night to tell him she dreamed of the baby, he wakes with tears in his own eyes and promises he'll never let anyone hurt her again, vows that fuel his growing obsession with punishing Electra, an obsession that quickly puts him at odds with Ridge, who knows RJ's temper is boiling and warns him that if he takes justice into his own hands, he'll lose everything, and as this father-son tension mounts, Brooke inserts herself, clutching RJ's hands and begging him to focus on healing Luna instead of destroying himself with vengeance, while across town, Electra faces her own unraveling as whispers of her violent outbursts spread like wildfire. Hope can't contain her trauma from what she saw in the office. Steffi is openly disgusted and declares that Electra is no longer welcome at Forrester, and even Eric, the patriarch whose heart always leans toward forgiveness, declares through tears that this is not the Forrester way and that Electra has shamed their name, pushing her further into isolation until the only person still willing to hear her out is Quinn, who herself knows what it's like to be vilified for violent mistakes, and while Quinn holds her daughter and insists they'll get through this, Electra's guilt leaks through her defensiveness late at night when she stares in the mirror whispering, "I didn't mean to kill the baby," over and over, her words a mixture of self-justification and horror, but guilt doesn't erase the fact that Baker and the LAPD intensify their probe after Luna, finally gathering the courage with RJ's support, tells the detectives that Electra attacked her, though she breaks down sobbing as she relives the pain, and Finn, watching from the sidelines, feels torn between protecting his patient and cousin versus his oath as a doctor to stay impartial, though his protective instincts push him to urge Luna to press charges for assault, while Lee, ever the pragmatic and sometimes cold presence, stuns everyone by siding with Finn, declaring that what Electra did is unforgivable and that if the law doesn't hold her accountable, then she will, hinting at a darker side of Lee that could emerge in this storyline. And meanwhile Bill Spencer, hearing of the miscarriage, becomes a relentless force behind the scenes, using Spencer Publications to circulate veiled articles about violence and corruption in the Forrester family, weaponizing public opinion to ensure Electra's downfall, while Katie warns him that he's turning grief into a vendetta and risks exposing RJ and Luna to more pain. Yet Bill insists no one hurts someone tied to his family and gets away with it, especially not under the same roof where his sons work. And as the investigation reaches a boiling point, Zend, who once defended Electra fiercely, finally crumbles under the pressure and admits to Ridge and Carter that he saw her storming out of the office that night looking unhinged, effectively sealing her fate in the eyes of the family, which leads to an explosive confrontation in the Forrester mansion where Ridge, Brooke, Steffi, and Eric corner Electra, demanding she confess, with Brooke crying that a child is gone because of her choices, Steffi snarling that she'll never forgive her, and Ridge slamming his fist on the table declaring that if Electra doesn't turn herself in, he'll testify against her himself. But Electra, rather than break down, screams back that Luna ruined her life first, that Luna stole everything she ever wanted, that nobody ever saw her because Luna became the golden girl overnight, and this twisted justification leaves everyone stunned, especially Eric, who tells her she has lost her soul if she believes a baby deserved to die for her jealousy, pushing Electra into a corner where she lashes out physically again, this time shoving a lamp and nearly hitting Brooke before storming out, setting up a dangerous spiral where Electra begins plotting her own revenge for being ostracized, and while the family prepares for a criminal trial, Luna herself struggles with haunting nightmares of the attack, waking up screaming in RJ's arms, her grief fueling a new determination to not only testify but to reclaim her life, and in a shocking twist, she confides in Steffi that she wants to return to Forrester Creations as soon as possible, not just to design but to prove to Electra and the world that she cannot be silenced. A decision that horrifies Finn, who worries she's pushing herself too soon, but earns respect from Ridge, who sees fire in her that reminds him of past Forresters who turned pain into power. And just as the family begins rallying around her, Electra makes a bold move of her own, appearing at Luna's hospital room late one night, uninvited, with tears streaming down her face, begging for forgiveness, insisting she never meant to hurt the baby, that she just lost control. And RJ immediately leaps from his chair ready to throw her out, while Finn threatens to call security, but Luna, trembling, silences them all and looks Electra in the eye, whispering, "You took my child," words so filled with quiet rage that even Electra steps back in terror, and though she continues begging, Luna shocks everyone by telling her she will not give her forgiveness, not now, not ever, and that the courts can decide her fate, setting the stage for a courtroom showdown where families will be torn apart. Testifying on either side, secrets will spill, and alliances will shift, with the looming question of whether Electra will pay with prison time or whether someone in the Forrester clan will manipulate the system to protect their blood, all while Luna's silent grief transforms into a dangerous strength that could one day turn her into the very kind of manipulator she always swore she'd never become, hinting at a future arc where she weaponizes her pain to rise higher than anyone ever imagined, ensuring that the legacy of the baby she lost will haunt and define everyone involved in ways they never saw coming. The aftermath spirals into even higher stakes as the investigation barrels toward a trial, and the bold and the beautiful sets the stage for one of its most emotionally charged courtrooms in years, with the press dubbing the case Forrester versus Forrester since the victim and the accused share blood ties, a scandal that brings shame to the family name and forces Eric to make a heartbreaking decision to temporarily step back from company leadership, fearing the brand will be ruined by the constant coverage, while Ridge and Steffi argue fiercely over how to proceed, with Steffi adamant that the company stand behind Luna as a victim of violence against women, while Ridge worries that publicly condemning Electra will forever fracture their family, though Brooke, never one to hold back, cuts through the hesitation and demands they protect Luna and RJ no matter the cost, leading to a Forrester board meeting filled with tension, where Carter lays out legal risks, Hope defends Luna as one of their most promising designers, and Zend, guilt-ridden for defending Electra in the past, finally admits he believes she's guilty, breaking down as he says, "I should have seen the signs," leaving Ridge grim-faced but resolved that the truth must come out. And as the day of the hearing approaches, Luna begins preparing her testimony, spending sleepless nights reliving the Attack, writing down the details of Electra's rage, the exact words she used, the way the kick felt like fire tearing through her body, and though RJ begs her not to put herself through it, Luna insists this is the only way she can honor the child she lost, while Finn supports her medically.